Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to SimPlay Motorsport here for the second of the fun events this season. We are live at the Red Bull Ring Welcome back. Apologies, ladies and gentlemen, for that brief disruption there. We just had a little problem with the server, as well as internet going down on the stream. But we are back. We are live now for the racing here at the Red Bull Ring. 10 minutes of free practice, 26 drivers on the grid. We've got GT3s with GT2s and with the Porsche Cup car. So hopefully everybody can get back in for a 15-minute qualifying session, in which we'll then follow on with that of a 1 hour race, with the pit window being what we'll see in the race 2s of the new season. We're back live in the session at the moment. We did have 21 cars in. We are expecting a 26 car grid, and hopefully this will be the start of what should be an absolutely fantastic night's worth of racing here at SimPlay Motorsport. I'm your host, Mathew Duffin, bringing you the action live here from the Red Bull Ring in Austria on what should be a cracking night of racing action for you all. So if you are in the chat, please get your questions in. Anything you want to ask, anything you want to know, we can try and answer them as we go through the season. Currently looking at Will Friedman out there on the circuit, back in a Porsche car, and it is that of the GT3. We've got Damien Hibbs as well in the Porsche GT3. John G'day back in a Porsche GT3, as well as some others out there. We've got Schwab in the pit lane in Porsche GT3. We've got Schumacher and Ben Ruck with Darren Bell, Jamal Clouden, Keenan Stardog and Francois de Bont, all in the Porsche GT3. The GT2s at the moment, that is Langley, with Benedict Varga running the 935 version, the older version of the Porsche GT2, Lucas Cox and Aberdeen. That'll be your GT2 grid, only the 4 drivers. And then in the Porsche Cup cars, we've got Kieran O'Reilly, Rob Ramsell running the candy cane looking livery, is what I've been told to call it. Peckman and Handley all in the cars as well. So a great grid at the moment. Like I say, we did have 21 cars a little earlier on. We are expecting, I can give you the numbers, we're expecting 10 Porsche Cup cars, 12 GT3. The GT3 are the silver coloured numbers, the Porsche Cup are the red coloured numbers, and the GT2s are the white coloured numbers. Good evening to Benedict Varga and DJ Phil in the chat, who says this car is just as funny as it is awful. And DJ Phil saying, I'm looking forward to watching this race, aren't we all? It should be a fantastic night's worth of racing here at the Red Bull Ring then this afternoon for us all to enjoy and all to watch. Now you may notice as well there will be some ads playing on the channel. We've managed to sort of hit our mark and be working hard to get things sorted on the channel to make the channel a little better experience for you guys as well. And it just obviously helps with the running of SimPlay Motorsport to be in this fantastic position to give you all some great action and some great racing. So if you've got any questions about the new season, which starts in 2 weeks' time, will be 2 weeks yesterday for the Who Darren Cup, 2 weeks today for Pro-Am, and 2 weeks tomorrow for the Pro Series, in which the grids look fantastic, and the grids really do look stacked this season. They look like there could be a real competitive feel around the championships this afternoon, this season. We are hoping for some spectacular races out there this season. We are then live at the Red Bull Ring, obviously formerly known as the Ring, obviously formerly known as the A1 Ring many years ago, in what is one of the best circuits, I think, on the current F1 calendar. We've got a few new drivers just joined into the lobby. We've got Rob Smith in his neon yellow with a bit of green Porsche, and we've got Jamie Lee in the Porsche Cup car as well. So we are expecting a few more drivers to join. We are 6 short of what had signed up, so hopefully we get the full 26 car grid to give us some fantastic drama here. Joseph Bates makes his return once again in the Cup car. Obviously back when we did the Porsche Cup season, he was our champion back on the PS4 version of the game. Joseph Bates, aka Fury CBK, back out there on the grid. So great to see Joe after his classic night ventures in the Nissan GTR. Great seeing him back out there in that Porsche Cup car and see what he can do against the likes of Rob Ramsell and Kieran O'Reilly, who is commentating the leagues on Wednesday for the GT3 Pro-Am when the season gets underway. That is myself, and I do believe Langley, the current Pro-Am champion, will be doing the commentary for Pro-Am. 100% me, not sure on Langley at the moment, but we'll see what happens there. Who Darren Cup will just be Dan Davis in the BMW M2s this season, and myself and Kelly Sweetstick will be back in the box for Pro on a Thursday night, so make sure you stick around for all of them. Good evening to Fury's Grandad in the chat as we get ready to go here in this one. So the Red Bull Ring, fantastic little circuit, lovely layout here, 9 corners, 10 if you want to include that little bit of turn 2. But a great iconic circuit in the world of motorsport. We've obviously seen many a fantastic F1 race here. It opened in 1969, it's 2.6 in length in miles, it's 4.3 kilometres long. Obviously we've got the the motorcycle circuit, which uses the chicane up that second straight. But at the moment it is just a normal layout, as we're seeing Will Friedman here in that middle sector going past the Bull at the moment as he'll come underneath it. The Bull in the background ready to go to enjoy some great racing here. Handley goes into 6th place overall at the moment. We've got some nice looking liveries out there as well. Ben Rook running the grey orange with a bit of blue trim, maybe a nod to his GT3 livery this season. John Goudet in the Greasy Bandits colours, mainly white on that car, nice looking livery there. Will Friedman running a multicoloured livery on that one. Hibbs as well, similar to John but a bit more blue on the car. Hanley in the black with the light blue and dark blue at the back, that's nice looking livery. Candy cane livery, as I've been told to call it, for Rob Ramsell. The mint green with a bit of purple and pink. Benny Varga running the Sodor Racing colours. Darren Bell in the greasy colours as well. A little bit more mix between the white, blue and green compared to Hibbs and Goudet. Peckman, nice looking livery there, the blue with the red and white on the bottom. We've got Clouden in the Cloud 9 colours. Stardog in the Greasy Bandits colours, and Jamie Lee then in the purple and red. Joe Bates running the old SimPlay Racing colours there of the red, black and blue, his colours as we've come to know it. Rob Smith in his neon green, yellow liveried car there. De Bont running in the Greasy Bandits colours, as we know. Aberdeen in the red, grey and slightly grey whitish colour. We've got Schumacher running in the German flag colours car there. Langley in the Quantum colours. Schwab running in them German colours a little further down, and Cox as well there in a nice looking livery for himself. So the practice about to come to an end as we get ready to go in this race for what will be, get ready to go in qualifying for what will be, I think, an absolutely spectacular race here at the Red Bull Ring. Could be an absolutely brilliant event to see here. Porsche Multi-Class Night. We've got one more special event coming up. That is the 6 hour of Watkins Glen. If you haven't got your team signed up already, get your team signed up for that one. Should be a cracking night of racing to see there. And then we also have the start of the season coming in that second week of October, third week of October, the 14th, 15th and 16th for Who Darren Cup Pro-Am and Pro. If you haven't signed up already, get signed up, get your hot stints done to be categorised in the correct category, and let's get ready to go. I'm still looking for a teammate for this season. I put a post on Discord again. If anyone wants to team up with me, DM in the Discord. It says DJ Phil Fury's granddad saying, evening all, good luck everyone, let's go Joe. So supporting his grandson there, and I'm looking forward to seeing this one get underway. I think it's going to be a cracking night's worth of racing here at the Red Bull Ring in the Styrian Mountains of Austria. What are we going to see from these drivers on this fantastic circuit so far? Ben Rook setting the pace with a 28.3, but obviously we've had to have a little 10-minute delay in proceedings to get everybody back in, as we had a server crash. Not like ACC to have server issues, is it? But Porsche Cup, we are expecting a couple more new names in the server as well. Not yet seeing them currently on the track at the moment. We've got Grabowski, Lizzie, with then Senna in there, as well as Venditti also on the GT3 list, the Cup car list. The GT3s, we're expecting Gabino possibly to come in. And that is it for the GT3s, and the GT2s are all there. So hopefully these guys get in for the Porsche night here tonight. Right, we are getting underway in qualifying. John Goudet has made sure that he is the first man out on the tracks. Let's go on board a lap with John Goudet in that Porsche 992 GT3 car, running car number 8. Wanting to turn number 2. Down towards Frostgold, they will go now. Drops downhill, got to pick up the braking. And I find this corner here, turn 3, the trickiest corner out the Red Bull. Very easy to run a little deep into the gravel on the outside. John keeps it nice and tight. Lifts out wide on exit, brings it back into that right hand side. So they come and collect into turn number 4. Val of Rouch. Patient, waiting to pick up the throttle. Through he goes now, using the curb on the outside. Back in now for the left and right hander. Just climb uphill before it slowly starts to fall away from the into Rint. The penultimate corner here, very easy to run wide on the exit of Rint and take some track limits here as John just a little wide of his apex. And then into the Red Bull Mobile final corner again. Another corner, very easy to pick up a track limit violation around this circuit. John then will be the first to start a flying lap. A lot of cars out there on the circuit at the moment. Jamal Clouden, Jamie Lee and Joseph Bates yet to go out there on the circuit at the moment in qualifying. So the only 3 still sat in the box. Benedict Varga is the one who's not in the server. That's when we've just lost a moment ago at the end of practice. Rotated through nice and lovely there from John. And comes downhill once more. There we go, picks up his braking thing. Shifting down the gears aggressively there. The Porsche sounds as it shifts down the gears. Bowden's now out on circuit. Hopefully he's found himself a nice little gap to just fall into. Liam Bates in the pit lane at the minute, and O'Reilly back in the pit lane, just noticing it. I do believe we've got Benedict Varga back into the lobby. Yes, we have. It may have been O'Reilly actually who's out the lobby. Another Benedict Varga. Now into the penultimate corner. John nicely on the curb this time. It's a good run onto the outside curb. Drops down through the next part. Let's see what John's lap time's going to be. Looking good so far in the free practice sessions. Goes with this a 1:30.2 at the moment. Ben Rook can't capitalise on that neither, so we're going to go to turn our attention to Schwab in car number 5. Just trying to get that past that of Rob Smith, and Schwab goes provisional pole by 7/10 of a second. The 225 is their next car on a lap. That is Langley. Joseph Bates is now out the pit, so let's see what lap time Langley does. Go second place by 3/10 of a second. Lap time starting to come in thick and fast now. Car number 7, that is Handley on an invalid lap. Goes and puts one in. They're not on invalid laps, apologies. They're on their first flying lap, so it doesn't show that they're on an invalid lap until they cross the line. Lee out the pits now as Friedman goes top of the timing screens by 9/10 of a second. The 741 of Stardog, next car to complete his lap time. And what will Stardog do is he comes across the line and goes up into P number 4. The 311 of Peckman now next up to the line. He crosses it and goes P13. But second in class at the moment in the Porsche Cup car. It's Langley on pole for the GT2s. Here comes Joseph Bates to the line. That's his outlap started. And the 999 of De Bont will be the next man to the line. And we'll see where this puts De Bont in this session. Doesn't set a lap time here then. So John Goudet back round to finish his first flying lap. Will he improve? 1.9 down on Freeman. Goes second place within half a second. What about Ben Rook? He now goes second place within 500ths of a second. The 105 of Rob Smith is next to the line. 3.1 off the current pole time at the moment. Gets the line, improves by 1/10 of a second. The 225, that is Langley once again coming to the last corner now. We'll see if Langley can improve. He does. He goes up to P4, still leading in GT2. Hibbs can't do anything to take that away from him. Darren Bell in the GBR Porsche stays P10 at the moment, picking up one of the Porsche Cup cars. That is Handley once again, who improves his time, goes quicker than Rob Smith at this moment. O'Reilly's out there in his Porsche Cup car. Is this his first flying lap? Friedman's on a yellow flag, so he's backing off. So we'll turn our attention now to the 566 of Benedict Varga. So he's coming through in the old Porsche 935, huge rear wing, and that awful back end of the car, it has to be said. Can Benny Varga close in on Langley? Nobody can close in on Cox. We've got the 311 of Peckman coming to the line, and he stays down in P16 for the time being. Joe Bates now will come for his first of his flying laps. Porsche Cup champion many seasons ago, 17th place for him at the moment. That is 4th in class. What about De Bont? He doesn't set a lap time in this one. John Goudet quickly comes back around. Once again, can he get ahead of Ben Rook? Or Will Friedman needs half a second, no improvement. What about Rook? Goes to the top of the timing screens by 0.2 of a second. Car 5 is Schwab. What will he do in this qualifying session at the moment? 1.4 off the back. 8 minutes left on the clock here. He improves up to P6. Jamal Clouden next up in the Cloud9 liveried car. He moves all the way up into P3. And we're going to drop back then to the number 26. That is Schumacher. Keep your eyes on Darren Bell, 12th at the moment. Improved slightly, but stays where he is. Schumacher doesn't improve either. Rob Ramsell in the 69 mint-coloured Porsche. Round he comes to try and put another lap time on the board. He does. He goes top of the timing screen. And Andy Aberdeen stays 2.6 off the pole. The 208 of Freeman. Has he done enough to find 2 and a bit tenths to get ahead of Ben Rook in this session? Not yet. No, he has not. The 566 then of Benny Varga. 3rd in class so far. And what will Benedict Varga do on this lap? Needs a 10th and a half to move him up a place. Doesn't find a 10th and a half. Go back to the 13 car of Joe Bates. Next one on a valid lap time. He's got the 999 of De Bont. So keep your eyes on De Bont. He's invalidated his first few. Joe Bates coming to the line. He needs to find 1.1 to get closer to Ramsell. Finds a little bit, goes 17th. De Bont moves all the way up into P4. Good lap that from De Bont. Going to turn our attention back to John Goudet, car number 8. Finds a bit of time, moves back up to 5th. Ben Rook increases his gap back as well. So Ben Rook setting the timing screens alight at the moment. Here comes Schwab to the line. Schwab moves into P3 with a great lap time from Schwab there. What about Rob Smith in that GT3 Porsche 992? The bop is applied for the Porsches, let's not forget. And Rob Smith, 16th place, gets out of one of the GT4 cars, car 31. That is Hibbs. Doesn't improve, stays in 7th place. We're going to turn our attention back to car number 7. That's Handley. Currently 2nd in the GT4 class. 74 of O'Reilly's coming through. Handley doesn't improve. Here comes O'Reilly. Jamie Lee, the only guy not to set a lap time at the moment. Can O'Reilly take that Porsche Cup pole? Yes, he can. And mixes it with some GT3s and GT2s as well. Heck of a lap that from Kieran O'Reilly. Goes some 1.3 quicker than Ramsell in the Porsche Cup class. And Kieran O'Reilly, man on a mission. Here comes Benedict Varga to the line. Needs to find that 10th. Doesn't find it there. And we've got the 311 of Peckman. 4 tenths to get back ahead of Joseph Bates. 7 tenths to get back ahead of Handley. Can he do so? Across the line he goes. No improvement on his time there. Here comes Joseph Bates. 3 attempts to get ahead of Handley in this session. No improvement for Joseph Bates. John Goudet is coming round to complete another lap and does not improve this time. What about Ben Rook? Pro runner-up last season. No improvement for him there. The 195, 105 I think that may have been, of Rob Smith. Yes, it is. That's Kieran O'Reilly staying out the way. Here comes Rob Smith then. Let's come round the penultimate corner. We'll go back to Hibbs in a moment, check what he's going to do. This could be an interesting one to see what Rob Smith can do here. 3 seconds off the pole, goes out of Andy Aberdeen. Here comes that of Damien Hibbs to the line. Goes up to P5 ahead of De Bont, car 7. That is Handley once again. Needs some 3 attempts to get ahead of Ramsell and put himself 2nd in the Porsche Cup category. Crosses the line, improves a little bit, but still behind Ramsell for the time being. The 208 of Friedman, just over 3 tenths off the back of Ben Rook in this race. What's he going to put on the lap time at the moment? Finds 2 thousandths. He doesn't find a great amount there, does he, at all? We're going to now pick up the 566 once again of Benedict Varga coming through the 741 of Stardog went P9. Now we'll find the 311 Peckman to the line. He comes before Joseph Bates once again. No improvement for Peckman there. What about Joe Bates? No improvement for him either. Invalid laps from everybody behind. So let's go to the 31 of Damien Hibbs. Oh, a bit of a spinner there. That is car 999. That is De Bont, who's had a moment coming down the hill into the middle sector. So Hibbs on a flyer at the minute. In fact, it looks like he's going to bail into the pit lane. So let's go and catch up with car number 7. That'll be Handley. Next man on a valid lap. Going to be interesting to see what these drivers can do. Good day though, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are across the world. Hope you're all doing well. As we get ready for the second of these special events, Handley needs a couple of hundredths to beat Ramsell, and he's going to bail on that before he gets towards the line. Rob Ramsell is coming to the line, but I believe this is an out lap. It was indeed. So Peckman, next man on a valid one. Let's see what he can do then, coming through the middle sector into the final sector now. Joseph Bates behind him on a valid lap, then Ben Rook. Porsche Cup cars, obviously no traction control aboard these. Joseph Bates has just invalidated his lap, so that'll be bad news for him. Peckman doesn't improve. What about Ben Rook then? Next man on a valid. Can he improve on his time to pull even bigger gap for Freeman and Clouden? No, he cannot. Next car is Rob Smith. You're not going to miss Rob Smith this season if that's the colour scheme he's running for the season. You are not going to miss him this season at all, because you will not be able to unsee that car at the end of the season. As a bit of a slide coming through the final corner, that would put to bed any run he had. Langley's coming back down to the line. I'll be looking at going on Project Motorsport at some point now. We're looking at going on Rensport when these come out. PlayStation 1. Rensport, no discussions on Rensport yet. But Project Motor Racing, we are discussing. I'm not going to give anything away there. So Langley stays where he is. Clouden's coming to the line. Down in 4th place now. Oh, that's a big off for Ramsell in the background. He's had a huge moment at the final corner. No improvement for Clouden. The 510. That is Cox in his GT2 Porsche. Nice white and black livery on that car. Stays P12 for the time being. Next man, Joseph Bates on a lap. 1 minute 44. So drivers coming into their final runs here. Good evening to Chris in the chat. Hope you're well, Chris. Down the start line, Joseph Bates can't find any more time there. The 74 of Kieran O'Reilly needs 2 attempts to get close to Schumacher, and doesn't find it there. 999 next on a valid lap. We're coming to the end of this qualifying. Drivers will be able to get one more run in. Those towards the back half of the lap may be able to get an extra lap in the car here. So 566 of Benny Vargas just rounded the last corner. He'll be able to start his final lap. What can De Bont do? Very good, thank you, Chris. Family's well. All good, thank you very much. As De Bont goes top of the timing tower by 34 thousandths of a second. Jamal Clouden next on a valid lap. And a lot of drivers calling it a day. Ben Rook is one of them drivers, because I can't see the number 14 circulating at the moment. The 999 of De Bont is done. De Bont may have just nicked pole position at the very death here in qualifying. Clouden will get one more run after this. Here comes Jamal. No improvement this time around. What about the 911 of Aberdeen? Doesn't improve. The 510 of Cox, I don't think improved there. John Gooday will just get to the line as well to be the last man to finish their qualifying session. So Kieran O'Reilly then will be the first man to complete qualifying. Jamie Lee, no lap time on the board. It's a shame for him. He'll be starting down at the back of the pack. Here comes Kieran O'Reilly now then. First man to finish qualifying on the circuit. The 911 of Aberdeen is done. O'Reilly doesn't improve. He takes that Porsche Cup pole. Either way, the 26 of Schumacher is invalid. The 225 of Langley on the curb a little too much there. That could possibly be an invalid lap through the second curb as well. Still going in this race at the moment. In this qualifying session, sorry. And we'll see what Langley can do in this one now as they come through the final corner. Can Langley find a couple of attempts to get himself ahead of John Goudet in qualifying? Gets the line now, does not improve. So it's all down to Jamal Clouden. 4 tenths for pole. We've seen many a time here at SimPlay Motorsport that we've had poles and Jamal has backed out of that one. So it will be De Bont who takes your pole position in the qualifying session for GT3 and overall. Langley will be your GT2 pole and Kieran O'Reilly your Porsche Cup pole position there. As we get ready then for an hour's race, mandatory pit stop, but there is no pit window, just like it will be in race 2 for next season now, with a 25 seconds mandatory stop to make in this race, which is what it will be in the new season. So the driver's getting a nice early chance to practice this one and prepare for this one. So it's De Bont on pole from Benrook on the front row of the grid with Friedman alongside Clouden. Schwab alongside Hibbs with Goudet alongside Langley. Stordog is alongside Schumacher. O'Reilly in the thick of GT3s and GT2s. He's alongside Cox. Benny Varga alongside Darren Bell with Rob Smith ahead of Andy Aberdeen. Then it's all the Porsche Cup cars of Rob Ramsell, Handley, with Bates alongside Peckman and Jason Lee at the back on his own. But O'Reilly, keep your eyes on what he can do in that Cup car tonight. It's going to be an interesting one to see. It'll be an interesting one to see what trouble or dramas he gets himself in the thick of the pack here in the Cup car.
30 seconds.
As we get ready to get underway in this race. Once again then, as we can take a look while we do the formation lap at that season 9 calendar, and as you can see it looks an absolute beautiful calendar. Alton Park on the 14th, 15th and 16th of October before we head to the Nürburgring Misano for its first night race of the season. We then go to Imola, stay in Italy and go to Imola for an evening race on the 4th, 5th and 6th of November. Silverstone then, the home of British Motorsport, on the 5th, round 5, the halfway stage of the season, only a 10-week calendar. Bathurst for a morning race and then to end November at Spa with a night race, 25th, 26th and 27th. Kyle Army for the first week of December before Kota, and then Donington Park to end things off, as always, here, the home of SimPlay Motorsport. Ready and raring to go in this race. What a race it could be here. This could be an interesting one to keep our eyes on. Let us know in the chat who you think could win this race or all win their classes respectively. And we'll see what will happen throughout this one. It's going to be a fantastic night of action, I feel, here. Just got that sense of drama here at the Red Bull Ring. And we'll see what these drivers can do around this famous circuit. But it's Kieran O'Reilly to keep your eyes on in that Cup car. Obviously our Pro and our Who Darren Cup champion. So we'll see what Kieran O'Reilly can do. About to get the race underway. They're coming into the middle sector now. Benrook isn't the one who leads them away. It will be De Bont. Good evening to Tips. Hope you're well, buddy. De Bont is the man on pole. What can Friedman do? Or maybe Jamal Clouden. Not known of. Schwab's not known of. So we'll see what the new guy can do. And you've got the Greasy Bandits duo of Hibbs and John Goudet. We'll see if they can do anything in this race. Langley currently leads the GT2 category. He's got a good gap back to Cox. We've got Scott Stardog and Schumacher. Schumacher a bit of unknown as well. O'Reilly then the leader in the Porsche Cup. And it's Cox and Varga. Varga in the older of the Porsche GT2 cars. Darren Bell and Rob Smith in their GT3s with Andy Aberdeen. And it's Ramsell, Joe Bates, Handley and everybody else. But we're going 2 by 2. .311 of Peckman just falling behind a little bit there, I'm noting. He's had to come through to get onto the back of the train. One thing I've noticed though, Ben Rupp will be on that inside line heading into turn 1, as will Jamal Clouden. So let's see now then what these two can do and what will be the case going into this race here at the Red Bull Ring. We are about to get underway for the second of the special events in the off-season. And we are green and go here at the Red Bull Ring for the start of the race. Duffin gets a heck of a start. Clouden and Will Friedman look pretty clean and away together. Ben Ruck, though, has that inside line and looks up the inside of Duffin through turn 1. Clouden tries to follow. Ben gets a poor run. Friedman a little wide in the background, dropping down the order a little bit. Everybody's got away well there. Keep back to front, though, of Ben Ruck. Clouden being not boxed in almost, but Friedman trying to box him in. Will he look up the inside of Ben Ruck in towards turn 2? A little later on the brakes goes Ben Ruck. Friedman does as well. Round the outside of Clouden. Round the outside of Ben. Friedman off the circuit. Rejoins now. Hopefully that wouldn't have pinged up 2 track limit warnings for him already on the opening lap. Schwab gets up into 6th place. Langley has got ahead of that of Goudet and Hibbs, and the extra power of the GT2 should keep him in front on the straights. It's the cornering that'll be the problem for Langley. Hibbs has tumbled right down the order, by the way. Goudet is up into 8th place. The 5.10, that is Cox, down at the back of the pack already in the GT2 Porsche. We'll let the timing tower update. Goudet just putting some pressure on the back of Langley now. Through the left-hander we go. Friedman as well as attacking that of Ben Ruck further up the road, side by side through the S's. Friedman and Ruck. Ruck has that inside line once again on Will Friedman. Kieran O'Reilly is into the top 10 overall in his Cup car. And Ben now with a double inside line. Friedman's going to try and hold it around the outside. Ben Ruck's still there though for the final corner. He's not, because Friedman's got the move done. So great driving from Will Friedman. Hibbs is up to 6th. Then it's Langley, then John Goudet. This is on board with John. Look at how Langley's just going to pull away on the straights here. And John helpless on the straights. Benny Varga is then next from Kieran O'Reilly. Then it is Schumacher, Darren Bell from Stardog. Joe Bates has moved his way up into 2nd in class already. Yellow flag, that I believe is Schumacher, who has had a spin. No, it's not, it's Schwab then, who has had a spin on the exit of turn 1. Schwab in the dramas. Then it's Andy Aberdeen, Rob Smith, Handley, Peckman, Rob Ramsell. In fact, Peckman's had a moment on the exit of turn 1 as well, with the number 5 of Schwab. Then it's Lee, and Cox now will make up a few places, but De Bont leads this race from Will Friedman, from Ben Ruck. Jamal Clouden close to the back of him. O'Reilly now trying to get onto the back of John Goudet, as Benny Varga's got past John Goudet. So not sure what's happened to John, but he's lost out to Benny Varga, and he's got the Cup car of Kieran O'Reilly on the back of him once again as well. Further down the pack, Schumacher trying to put the pressure on Hibbs. Hibbs has also had a moment. He was running higher than that earlier on, so not sure what's happened to the 2 Greasy Bandits drivers there. They've dropped down the order a little bit. Stardog on the back of Joseph Bates here. Sorry, on the back of Aberdeen. He's got Tanley and Rob Smith just behind him. We're going to see the 3 different Porsche cars doing different things around this circuit. Look at Langley, for example. In fact, look at Benny Varga. Watch how Varga will pull away from O'Reilly, and John will just pull O'Reilly in a little bit. So all that cornering that will be the next one to keep our eyes on. Goudet should be better through the corners than the others. Not though at the moment. This is down the order with Joseph Bates holding up Aberdeen, Stardog, Handley and Rob Smith. Rob Ramsell's going to want to get on the back of this to try and take a podium in category here. Jason Lee's on the back of Cox. Cox may have just got past Lee there. Then it's Peckman and Schwab who's going to try and recover their races. Clouden losing out to Ruck a little bit at the moment. Goudet still on the back of that of Kieran O'Reilly though at the moment. Just can't get close enough to try and find a way through. Bell on the back of Hibbs, and then it comes Joe Bates with Andy Aberdeen. That's what you've got to love about multi-car racing as well. Different cars racing their own races, and this is what the Pro and the Pro-Am and the Who Darren Cup will be next season. As Aberdeen has a look at the inside of Joe. Joe just a little wide, manages to get it back together. Aberdeen couldn't find a way through, but with gold, silver and bronze now, and platinum in Pro, all be in their own categories, in their own leagues, you're going to get a bit more of that mixed class racing. Obviously tonight it's that bit more multi-class racing out there at the moment. This is great to watch. Kieran O'Reilly within half a second of Benny Varga. Look at these three, GT2, Porsche Cup and GT3 of Goudet in the background, all fighting for 6th, 7th and 8th place out there on the circuit. As that is Hibbs looking on Schumacher in the background. Goudet thinks of a little move up the inside, but it was just a look, nothing more than that. Got a good train of cars coming through. Peckman is now down to last place overall. Schwab has got past him. He's going to try and close the gap to that of Jason Lee. And Varga just pulls away on the straights. John Goudet to the outside there then. Schumacher has Hibbs looking once again, and Joe Bates has got Aberdeen going up the inside of him. Joe Bates loses out there to Aberdeen. As expected, Stardog, next man to try and attack Joe Bates. Clouden back within 9/10 of Ben Ruck. Two leaders getting closer and closer. Goudet's now having a look on the outside line, approaching turn number 4. Can't get anything done through there. Can John O'Reilly? Just a little deep, but not enough of a gap for John to have a look up the inside here. This is on board with John Goudet himself. And at the moment, not able to do anything, but look at Kieran O'Reilly putting the attack now on Benny Varga, where the GT2 suffers in the middle sector. The Cup car gains on Benny Varga. And Kieran O'Reilly looking for a move, and as he thought to go up the inside of Benny, John thought of going up the inside of O'Reilly, and he gets the run on the out to the exit of the final corner, but that GT2 car is just going to pull away. And this slipstream really helping O'Reilly at the moment. Alistair Cummins in the chat. Hi guys, hope all are well. Very well, thanks Alistair. Hope you're well as well. O'Reilly then doesn't get the run out of turn 1 he'd have wanted here. This invites Goudet onto the back of him. John pulls out now to have a look. He's not alongside though, so the Cup car holding its own in a straight line compared to the GT3. And Goudet has to stay behind once again. Tries to get the better exit out of turn 2. Has he just got enough of a car alongside? He has, you know. But O'Reilly once again managing to come back in front. 4.73, that is Lee who's had a spin out the final corner. He's dropped to the back of the pack, lost out to Schwab and Peckman. Battle out front though. De Bont has got Will Freeman all over the back of him. Goudet still staring at the back of O'Reilly. Closest fight on track at the moment, Bob Bates and Hanley then. That is a slow GT3 car. Is that Darren Bell? No. Is it Hibbs? No. So it's Stardog then, who's had a moment and lost out a couple of places. But Handley looking at Joe Bates here to try and get second place in category. Ramsell's not a million miles behind either. Back to O'Reilly then, who's back on Benny Varga through the middle sector. And out front, Freeman biding his time to try and get past De Bont in this race. And Freeman here pulls out, has a look, gets past, and has already got the job done. So a great little move that for Will Freeman there to make his way up into the lead of this race ahead of De Bont. Ben Ruck going with him. Clouden's just dropping off the back. Then it's Langley in no man's land. And Benny Varga still fending off O'Reilly and John Goudet. Then it's Schumacher from Hibbs with Darren Bell from Aberdeen in the GT2 Porsche. Be a lot quicker in the straights. Will struggle through the corners at this moment. Joseph Bates then fending off Handley. Stardog into the back nearly of Handley there, under braking into turn 2. Rob Smith 16th place. We've lost Lee from this race. And Ramsell currently 4th in the Porsche Cup. Then it's Cox, Schwab and Peckman down at the back. But De Bont going to try and fight back on Freeman. Not close enough at the moment. We'll go back to that O'Reilly and John Goudet fight, which has been a cracking little strap. Aberdeen as well, trying to get past Darren Bell. And we've got Joe Bates fending off Handley and Stardog at the moment. So interesting to see what Joe Bates can do right now, coming into the middle sector. This is where that Cup car seems to be strong, especially in the hands of O'Reilly. We go back up to O'Reilly, look. 2/10. He's pushing Benny Varga through the penultimate corner and nearly being pushed by John Goudet as well. So a little train developing. This is allowing Schumacher to just gain onto the back of John, and he's bringing Hibbs with him. Where is Goudet gone? Sorry, apologies, I was just pouring a drink. Goudet has dropped back massively, coming under pressure from Schumacher then, so made a mistake possibly out the exit of turn 1. Goudet on the inside, Schumacher on the outside. Schumacher sweeps round John Goudet, and John loses out of place then to that of Schumacher in this race. De Bont trying to come back at Will Friedman in this one. Don't forget there is that 25-second pit stop to do, and they can do it at any time in the race. Drop back to Joseph Bates. He's got Handley within 7/10, and Stardog, then Smith, then Cox. Ramsell hoping to stick with them. Obviously the GT3 and the GT2's just getting past. Kieran O'Reilly here, 7th overall in that Porsche Cup car, doing a fantastic job in this race at the moment. He's on the back of Benny Varga. The problem is for O'Reilly is if he gets past, Varga just pulls away on the straights. And Goudet's going to have to try and get past Schumacher now, but back down to Joe Bates. His Handley's got alongside Joe Bates, and up the inside he goes through the S's. Joe's going to try and fight this strong around the outside of the penultimate corner. And can Joseph Bates get the move done? That is Stardog, who's a little slow. And a bit of contact there with Cox from Stardog. Ramsell will take another place. Stardog's going to call that one into the pits. Joe couldn't get past Handley. And Ramsell's now lost the rear of the car. He's gone around in the background to Rob Ramsell. Around he goes. And he gets overtaken by Schwab in this one. Back to Schumacher as he's been overtaken by Goudet. And Hibbs is going to try and attack him coming up the hill in towards turn 2. Can Hibbs swoop around the outside like Schumacher did to Goudet a lap ago? I believe he can. Gets the traction on exit. Schumacher still there though at the moment. He's still going to be there coming down to turn 3. No, he's not. Hibbs gets the move done now. We've got the 3 leaders within a second of each other. So Stardog into the pit lane now. And Ramsell's got work to do if he's to get onto that back of the train, which is now being led by Handley. Then Joe Bates, Rob Smith. Schwab has got ahead of Cox as well. So looks like Cox has been in the wars. Not sure what happened to him. So Schwab making his way back through the pack as Peckman gets past that of Stardog, who is into the pit lane. De Bont 9/10 off the back of Will Friedman. At the minute, Langley's the man in no man's land, 2.8 behind Clouden, 2.6 clear of Benedict Varga. And Kieran O'Reilly running a great little race at the moment in this one, in that Cup car. As they come through the final corner. Watch that GT2 of Benny Varga just pull away from O'Reilly. This is on board with Kieran O'Reilly here then. So you can get a bit of a view of the straight line speed of that GT2 Porsche 935. It'll wiggle on exit for Benny Varga, but look at that thing go. Just pulls away from Kieran O'Reilly. Up the hill he goes, and he pulls away. And that's what's keeping Benny Varga out front at the moment. Rob Smith has got past Joe Bates. Remember, it's all about category racing here. The overall result would be nice, but obviously the results go down to Porsche Cup, GT2 Porsche and the GT3 Porsche. So now for Joe Bates, he's got Schwab 4.2 behind, then Cox a little further back, and Ramsell a bit further back than that. Here's O'Reilly then, a train really starting to form behind Benny Varga. Goudet's back on O'Reilly, and he's nearly brought Hibbs, who's in turn bringing Schumacher with him as well. So a great little scrap. This, we are just approaching 15 minutes into this race. Oh, little wiggle from John there, little wiggle from Hibbs as well. Porsche not the natural car for these two to drive. We know John loves a good front engine car. Hibbs been in that McLaren for a couple of seasons now. And O'Reilly looking to tuck underneath out of Benny Varga. Did that compromise his run? Because Goudet gets a better run. Is he going to be alongside Kieran O'Reilly coming down into turn 1? That Porsche Cup car's got a bit in a straight line, you know, just keeping John Goudet at bay there. So John got the traction out the corner but could not do anything with it. He's just struggling down the bottom end of the straights, losing out to Kieran O'Reilly. Rob Smith now on the back of Handley. Joe's lost out quite a bit of time here. Great to see Joseph Bates back out on the circuit. Ben Rook within 4/10 of second place. De Bont. So what will he be able to do in this one? O'Reilly again, look, has got John royally glued to his rear bumper coming through the middle sector. This is where John's got to try and capitalise. Again, a little twitch for Goudet. And there's a drive-through penalty for De Bont. We're only 15 minutes in, and De Bont receives a drive-through penalty for track limits. So already his night has not turned out great. We've predicted a 20-second time frame for the drive-through penalty, so that will tumble him down the order quite significantly here. But that'll allow Ben Rook to get the jump on De Bont then. Who's gone very wide through turn 2, and Ben Rook will not want a second invitation to get past De Bont there. So Ben Rook now up into second place. Can Jamal Clouden chase him down? And we've got this great little scrap here. Benedict Varga, Sodor Racing, as we know, is his stable. MSA Racing's Kieran O'Reilly, and the two Greasy Bandits cars of Goudet and Hibbs. Obviously no teams, just a fun event. No points on offer for these drivers, just a one-off event here. This has been a great bit of action to watch here. The Cup car closing in on Benny Varga in the middle sector, being able to pull away from the GT3 on the straights as well. O'Reilly just can't get close enough when he needs to get past on Benny Varga. Varga's made a mistake though. Does he drop a wheel in the gravel? No, he doesn't. O'Reilly can't quite get alongside him, so that's not going to hurt him. De Bont has got to do his drive-through on the next lap. That looks like Hibbs is going to come into the pit lane. So Hibbs comes into pit. And again, O'Reilly gets a much better run out the corner than Benny Varga. The problem is that straight line speed of the Porsche 992 just helping Benny Varga stay in front. So Hibbs into the pits here, trying to maybe get the undercut on the drivers ahead. Oh, that's Schumacher in the background. Moment into the wall, clipped it, bounces back the right way. That's a bit of damage on the front of his car there. Down to Schwab, who's in a fight with Rob Smith and Handley. Smith and Schwab make contact. Handley gets up the inside of Smith. May get Schwab on the exit as well. What about Joseph Bates? Handley does not get Schwab. He might do though, although Handley just onto the grass a little bit there. You know, these Porsche Cup cars are no slouch in a straight line. Joseph Bates is also there with Rob Smith. And Joe brakes a little earlier. Let's Rob take that one. Knows that isn't his fight. De Bont's on the back of Ben. De Bont's got to do his drive-through this lap. If he doesn't do his drive-through this lap, that will then be the end of his day. And into the pits. No, he's not. So this will be a disqualification for De Bont for not doing his drive-through. The reason it's done that is because he got here at the penultimate corner. After he'd passed pit entry, he's going to disappear to the pits. There we go. De Bont has been disqualified from this race. Phil Atherton, I think we're going to get 5 drive-throughs this evening. This is GT2 versus Cup car versus GT3 battle. It's immense at the moment. So Langley promoted to 4th. I believe Benny Varga has just peeled. No, Benny Varga, something's happened to him because he's dropped a long way behind O'Reilly. In fact, he was behind Goudet as well. Goudet into the pits, and De Bont has been... I've dropped my controller, apologies there, chap, but De Bont has been disqualified from this race. So a huge, huge disaster, and that is purely because he got that final track limit warning at the final corner before he'd crossed the line. So that took one lap away from him. Well, that's ruined De Bont's evening. DNF in this race, promoting everybody up yet another spot here. And what looked like it could have been another good result. Goudet dropping down the order at the moment. John not yet on the move, so Peckman will come past. Ramsell's dropped behind Peckman, so he's had another moment. He's got Hibbs just behind him as Goudet's coming out the pit lane. Hibbs will get ahead of John Goudet, I do believe. There's John exiting the pits. Yep, Hibbs gets in front of Goudet. And there's Ramsell in the Cup car as Hibbs is about to try and come past Rob Ramsell then. Ramsell fifth now in class. And Ramsell just breaks a little earlier. Knows Hibbs isn't his fight because Ramsell still got to pit. And through goes Hibbs. So Hibbs, your net leader of the pit runners in this race at the moment. Schumacher's lost out to Bell in this one. This is Cox trying to get on the back of Joe Bates. Schumacher there losing out to Bell, so he'll try to get back in front of Darren Bell. What a race this is at the minute. Friedman looking comfortable back in his Porsche, looking back to his best as Bell goes deep at turn 2. That should allow Schumacher to come flying through. It doesn't though. That will probably have pinged up a track limit warning there for Darren Bell, and he stays in front at the moment. Back to Cox, who's got ahead of Joe Bates and Rob Smith then. So that is done. Ramsell battling hard with Goudet into the final corner. Goudet obviously has done his pit stop. Here's Will Friedman, start to put a lap on these drivers. Really showing his pace is Friedman tonight. Into turn number 1. Ramsell just fending off John Goudet at the minute. Ramsell goes round. So Ramsell has a big spin there. Joe Bates now trying to fend off that of Rob Smith, Darren Bell. As Rob Ramsell's returned to the pit lane. So that could be his night done. And I believe it is, because I can't see a car yet. Ramsell has retired from the race. Darren Bell then now trying to hunt down after Schumacher once again. Schumacher got past him on the last lap there, also trying to catch Benny Varga. They've got Andy Aberdeen 2.2 behind them, so we're down to 18 runners. We've lost Liam Ramsell. De Bont got disqualified. This is going to be an interesting night to see what these guys can do in this race. Rob Smith into the pit lane. Darren Bell a little squirrely on the exit of the corner. Let's try and see if we can get Rob into the commentary box. As Darren Bell now looking for a move up the inside of Schumacher. Through into the S's. Gets that move done. Nice little job that from Darren Bell. Good move there after he had a moment a little earlier on. Good evening to Peaceful Step. I hope you're well, buddy. And so far, not a lot of battles happening out on circuit. Rob Smith drops behind Hibbs and Goudet. Hibbs has got himself past Peckman. We've got Goudet on the back of Peckman now as well. In fact, no, we've got Goudet ahead of Peckman. So John moves up another spot. Let's go back to that Darren Bell and Schumacher fight. Schumacher with a lot of damage on the front. No, Dan or Kelly. Dan's out on a date. Dan was meant to be racing this one. Kelly doesn't normally commentate the fun events. So just me on my own, Chris. So I need you guys in the chat to keep me company tonight. And we'll see what happens. Benny Varga now into the pits. This will be interesting to see where Benny Varga comes out, actually. Where is Schumacher just gone? He's dropped down to 7th there. As I was just... John's not going to join... Rob's not joining us in the commentary box. So Hibbs, is he going to jump Benny Varga? I believe he is, and so is John Goudet. So they've both got past Benedict Varga now then. So, interesting to see there. Handley trying to get onto the back of Cox once again. Great to see these cars trying to just do different things, and really, you know, the Cup car and the GT3 pretty evenly matched at the moment, and it's nice to see this. Makes the racing a little bit more interesting. Are we looking forward to the season though, chat? Starts in 2 weeks' time. Who Darren Cup, the BMW M2s this year, and then we've got the Porsche, the Pro-Am night on Wednesday, and then the pros on the Thursday evening, which is just going to be a fascinating bit of racing. Sign-ups look incredible for this season already. We've got Schumacher into the pits, Schwab on the back of Andy Aberdeen. Schwab had that moment early on, so he's trying to fight back here. Got fantastic sign-up numbers already for this season. We've got 37 Who Darren Cup cars, 35 Pro-Ams and 31 in the Pro. Looks like it could be 3 cracking grids. And let's see what can happen this season. Should be a fantastic bit of racing all around this year, I have no doubts. As Ben said, we got tickets for British GT at Donny this weekend. Oh no, he didn't. I was hoping to go, Chris, but sadly not able to this weekend. So I hope you enjoy the GT this weekend, and do enjoy that one. That's a shame, won't be able to make that, but yeah, do enjoy it. If you've never been to Donington, brilliant circuit. Really is a good place. Yeah, it'd be good to see you, Alistair, in the Pro-Am category this season. Don't forget the deadline for the cars and liveries to be posted is a week on Friday at 8 PM UK time. Teams, cars, liveries to be announced by then. That gives us admin the weekend to get them all sorted. Yeah, I was hoping to be there, Chris, but real world things, I suppose, have denied me access to get in. Or to go, should I say. So Schumacher's came out behind Stardog by 0.3 of a second. Let's go down and check that fight. So Hibbs still your net pit leader. 0.9 is that gap between Stardog and Schumacher. As this race is just coming up to its halfway stage of it. And we'll see what happens for the rest of this race. I know, definitely. I am on about doing Thruxton next year, Chris. So if you're at Thruxton, we'll have to have a meet up there. Obviously, I know you met Dan and Kelly this year. Menti Python. It's such a handicap driving in a left-hand drive, though. It is. That is the handicap. Driving left-hand drive cars. Phil Atherton in the chat. We have the final week of the season. Yeah, more excited for the touring cars and British GT than I am the Singapore Grand Prix, if I'm going to be honest. Not a big Singapore lover, and I don't know, the F1's just doesn't feel the same as British touring cars or the British GT. Stardog coming under pressure from Schumacher a little bit here later on in this race. Interesting to see if drivers have taken tyres as this race has gone on. 29 degrees track temp. Looks a warm one. So let's see what will happen as we go through this circuit once again. Schumacher on the back of Stardog. This is a battle in GT3 category. No, neither am I, Chris. Fully with you there. Bring on Interlagos is what I say. Favourite F1 race of the year, Interlagos. Love that place. a mistake there from Starlog into turn 1. That's allowed Schumacher to squeeze on through. And through goes Schumacher there then. We've got Schwab on the back of Aberdeen, or we did have, because Schwab's now pitted. So our running order at the minute is Will Friedman comfortably clear of Ben Ruck, with Jamal Clouden even further behind in third place. Langley and Clouden in no man's land in this race. So, although I say that, O'Reilly 3.1 behind. What's O'Reilly been lapping compared to Langley? A similar pace at the moment. So O'Reilly showing his pace in that Cup car. Darren Bell 10 seconds back. Then it's Andy Aberdeen. Cox is now moved up to 8th because Schwab's in the pits. Then it's Handley. Joe Bates trying to get in there for second place in the Cup car class. And Hibbs coming down the start straight now. Schwab not yet gone green, so this should put Hibbs as still the net leader of the pit runners. And indeed it will, as he goes through. John Goudet has dropped off the back of Hibbs quite a lot. Oh, massively. Was a bit worried for Nick Hamilton when his car caught fire, Phil. John Goudet gets through on Schwab as well. Here comes Benedict Varga, who will also get ahead. Schumacher and Stardog. This will be an interesting one because Schwab is leaving the pit lane halfway through the race. Only the one drive-through penalty so far, and that was for De Bont, who has been disqualified. Schwab is out the pit, so Schwab stays ahead of Schumacher and Stardog. So he is in 14th place when Benny Varga goes through the first sector time. O'Reilly into the pits now. So let's see where O'Reilly comes out in relation to Hibbs, Goudet and Varga, because he was on the back of Varga. And it's round roughly for a change of tyres. You're looking 50 seconds, 45 seconds for a stop, which is pretty long considering that we're lapping in around the, what is it, 88 seconds mark. 1 minute 20, so yeah, 60, 70, 80. Yeah, so 88 seconds for Benny Varga. He's around the 90 seconds. Goudet 90 seconds. Hibbs 89 seconds. So a lot of time lost when you think about they're at top speed and you're not. And O'Reilly not yet gone green, so it looks like Hibbs is going to find his way through. Friedman and Aberdeen into the pit, so Hibbs will get past O'Reilly. O'Reilly's gone green now, so let's see where he'll come out in relation to John Goudet. He's off the limiter and he's out the pit, so Hibbs got through. We'll see O'Reilly emerge from the pit lane. There he is, squirrely as he comes out, but where's Goudet in the background? Just appearing there. So Kieran O'Reilly jumps Varga and Goudet in the pit lane then. And we've got Starlog trying to get back on the rear of Schumacher. Chris, if you're at Donington, go through to the infield. You'll see a load of as you come out the tunnel to get to the infield. If you're from the paddock, as Starlog goes around, loses the rear of the car, and round he goes. Friedman, Ruck and Langley all into the pit lane. Joe Bates on the back of Handley here now. If you go through the tunnel from the paddock, come out the bottom of the tunnel, turn right, you'll go up a slight hill. At the top of that hill, turn left. Top of the Craner Curves, beautiful view. Down the Craner Curves up to McLean's. It's where we sit on the regular. Beautiful view there. Are you there for the weekend, Chris? We've lost another driver. And I'm not sure who we've just lost there. But we have just lost yet another driver in this race. We're down to 17. Petman's still there, Smith still there, Stardog, Schumacher, Aberdeen, Schwab, Varga, Goudet, O'Reilly, Hibbs, Bates, Handley still there. Lucas Cox still there. Darren Bell is the driver we've lost. So Darren Bell, hopefully he can get himself back in. Oh, Handley, little squirrely out the second corner. And manages to hold on to that one and stays ahead of Joe Bates at the moment. Oh, Darren Bell has come back in. Oh, it's Jamal Clouden, sorry. It's Jamal Clouden who we've lost from the race. Well, what has happened to Jamal Clouden? Just a Sunday, fair enough. Great view on the inside there. Well, enjoy your Sunday, Chris. Like I say, should be at Thruxton next year, so we'll have to have a meet up there. This for 4th and 5th on track at the moment, though. Hibbs is a little bit behind this battle at the moment. And, yeah, let me see if I can see what's happened to Clouden. Into the pits comes Handley, so that battle with Joseph Bates will not resume. And it wasn't Darren Bell. I apologise to Darren Bell because I didn't see his name at the top of the screen. Just as I assumed that was Clouden. I suppose that's the downside to everybody being in a Porsche. I hope you'll be cheering on the Honda NSX, Chris, as it will roll through Donington Park. So not a lot happening out there on the circuit at the moment. Say that, the Stardog's gaining on the back of Cox here. So let's see what happens then. So we have lost Jamal Clark. We're down to 17 runners. That is Handley coming out the pits right into this Cox Stardog fight. Cox may get Handley here with his straight line speed up towards turn 2. There you go. It was Ben's first intro. Ben's first intro into SimPlay at Thruxton. It was indeed. Yeah, Kelly recruited him. And I don't think Ben's looked back since, has he? He's had great pace. Darren Bell on the back of Benny Varga now for 8th and 9th. And that is with Schwab as well. So Schwab's come to fight with Darren Bell here after Darren Bell's pit stop. Joseph Bates into the pits. This will put O'Reilly, after he's passed Joseph Bates in the pits, O'Reilly will be in the top 5 in the Cup car. And Schwab, more confidence into the penultimate corner. Gets past that of Darren Bell. Lovely move from Schwab there. And through he goes. Joseph Bates still in the pits. Where's Handley? Because that's the fight he was in. Penultimate corner. Joseph Bates coming out the pit lane now. So we'll see what Joe can do. Handley got passed by Cox. Stardog's on the back of him. You can hear Joseph Bates coming down the pit lane. He's going to lose out massively here. There he is. And Handley has sailed on through. Oh, that's a good little move late on the brakes from Stardog. He should get the traction out the corner. We know that Porsche Cup car, though, has got a good bit of straight line speed here. We'll go back to Schwab and Benny Varga in just a moment. There we go. Look, the Porsche Cup pulling back in front of Stardog there. Stardog going to try and be later on the brakes than the Cup car into turn 3. Very tricky corner to get right. The Porsche Cup's going to hang it around the outside at turn 3. Can he keep it on that inside line for turn number 4? No, he can't. He tries to. He does, in fact, because Stardog's on a little deep. Turns in. Oh, was that contact? Didn't look like contact. Wonder if it was a bit of netcode contact there. We'll go to Benny Varga and Schwab now. Schwab on the charge after his spin in lap 1. And the 311's had a spin. That is Peckman, who is on the outside, on the inside of turn 1 by the pit exit. So everybody's done their stop. And Stardog there. Off he goes. Big spin. And that allowed Joseph Bates and Rob Smith to get through. And now let's see if Schwab can get ahead of Benny Varga in this race. 22 minutes left on the clock. This will put Hibbs on the podium. I don't think Langley's got an answer for Hibbs. In fact, Langley's got ahead of Hibbs. Hibbs got ahead of Langley, sorry. Matching each other's pace. Langley was a 10th quicker last time around. O'Reilly was 3/10 quicker than Langley, so keep your eyes on O'Reilly possibly getting into the top 4 in a Cup car here. That would be absolutely huge for Kieran O'Reilly. And Schwab just not getting close enough to the back of Varga at the moment. There is Langley, there is O'Reilly then. Looking back from Langley's car, will pull away down the straight. And O'Reilly reeling him in. These two will be rivals on the circuit next season. Langley, obviously Pro-Am champ, now in the Pro category. Let's go on board that of Benny Varga. You see Schwab gaining on the back of him here as he tries to come through. Good little race for Kieran O'Reilly. This will give him confidence going into the new season where he defends his Who Darren Cup in the BMW M2, and he'll defend his Pro Championship as well back in the NSX, it looks like. I think he lost it on his own and went in the gravel, said Phil. Possibly so. Schwab getting closer to the back of Benny Varga, though. And he gets the run on Benny Varga. Has a little loose out of turn 3. Went a little deep. Schwab's going to try and go around the outside of 4. Benny holds it on the brakes. Runs too deep. Schwab's going to tuck underneath. And Benny Varga loses out there. Now, has Benny Varga changed his tyres, or has that GT2 eaten through them? But Schwab now up to 7th. 8.4 to John Goudet he needs now. Matching John's pace, a little bit quicker than John. It's going to be interesting. But Friedman and Ben Ruck, not really seen much of them in this race, have been dominant so far. As Joe pulls to the inside to let Ben Ruck put a lap on him. Joe 5 seconds off the back of Handley in this race. And now can Darren Bell in the top 10. Can he get on the back of Benny Varga in this one? Kieran O'Reilly though 1.8 off the back of Langley. We'll keep our eyes on this for a moment and see what happens coming through the middle sector. So 1.89 it stays still through that middle sector it is then. So O'Reilly just doing enough to be a nuisance for Langley, to make Langley just think about it. What a drive though from Kieran O'Reilly in this one tonight. Obviously we've got the 6 hours of Watkins Glen coming your way. Hopefully there'll be enough teams registered to stream the race. That is a week on Saturday. And then the season starting on the 14th of October. Dan Davis will be live with the Who Darren Cup from Alton Park. We're going into winter months, so could we see some wet races? We said this time last year when we went to Alton Park and Donington in December, and it didn't rain, it was beautiful. Could we start to see a bit of weather on some of these circuits this season? In the winter seasons we go, cooler temperatures. The night races are going to be absolutely key. With 17.5 minutes left on the clock. O'Reilly's just lost a 10th through sector 1 to Langley. Langley 4.4 off the back of that of Hibbs. No real fights happening anywhere at the moment. Let's go down and have a look. Aberdeen, not seen much of Aberdeen in this race. 3.8 off the back of Darren Bell. 5.5 ahead of Schumacher. Any questions in the chat regarding the new season or anything in general, just let us know and I'll try and answer them as best I can for you all. But it's been an alright night here at the Red Bull Ring. It's been an alright night of racing so far. We need rain next season. Pros missed out again. They always do. Me and Kelly will always say the pros miss out every night. So we'll see what they do this season and we'll see what they get to do. As we've got my nephew coming through to go up to bed, and we've got Ayrton's here and Jamie as well. Jamie, come here, grab a quick word. Who's going to win Pro this season, Jamie? Who do we think's going to win the Pro Series? A lot of drivers are in it. I'm not in it, so you can't say me. So who do we think's going to win it?
Joe in it.
I don't know if Joe's in it yet.
Is Rob in it?
Rob Rams was in it. Dan Davis, Kieran O'Reilly, Sylph, Hooper, Ben Rook.
Rob Ramsey.
There you go, Rob Ramsell. So he'll probably win gold. What about platinum? Who do you think is going to be a platinum driver winner? Dan and Ramsell to win platinum and gold. There we go. You've heard it here first. Jamie's called Rob and Dan to win it. Well, let's get Jamie's take on the nicest livery. Come here. You can give us your take on what you think's the nicest looking car out there tonight. So we've got Will Friedman, Jam. There he is in his Porsche 992. Nice looking livery. We've got Ben Rook. Porsche 992 GT3 as well. Hibbs. Nice looking blue and green there. Langley in his Porsche GT2. Got Kieran O'Reilly in the Porsche Cup car. These ones we see at the touring cars at Donington. John Goudet. We'll let the livery come round a little bit. Chris says Ben for the win. I've got a good feeling about Ben this year. There's John Goudet. Schwab in his Porsche GT3. We've got Benny Varga in his Porsche GT2. And then we've got Darren Bell. We've got Andy Aberdeen. Oh, a bit of a moment in the background for Schumacher there. Had a massive twitch on his car as he came through. We've got Cox, who's just been lapped by Ben Rook. And then we've got Handley's. Joe Bates. There's looking livery there. Stardog. Rob Smith. Or Peckman. Which livery do you think's your nicest there, Jem? I knew you was going to say Joe Bates. There you go. Joe Bates gets told he's got the nicest livery on the grid. Well, Joe Bates looking for second place in the Porsche Cup class. He's got a heck of a run coming up towards turn 2. Pulls to the outside of Handley. We know the outside line can work through turn 2. Handley goes a little deep. A bit of a twitch on exit there for Joe Bates. And sorry for Handley, but Joe Bates can't get through. Who's going to win Pro-Am? He doesn't know enough Pro-Am drivers, Phil, so I can't ask him that one. Joe Bates here. I can't ask Jamie because he doesn't know enough of the Pro-Am drivers to know who's going to win that one. And Joe Bates putting the pressure on Handley for second place in the Porsche Cup category this evening. 13th overall this fight's for, but it's second place in the Cup class. Langley, your current GT2 leader. Friedman leads overall and is your GT3 leader. And what a race this is. Handley, different line to Joe Bates. Did he just touch the gravel a little bit there? Here comes Fiore then. Joseph Bates pulls to the inside line for the penultimate corner on the marbles a little bit. Handley gives him the room. Joe's going to go up the inside. Made his line too tight. Handley can carry the momentum through. Joe's going to stick it there. No, he's not. Tucks back in. Waits again. Handley deep at the final corner. This could have given Joe the run he needs. Out the final bend he comes. Joseph Bates looking to get past Handley in towards turn number 1 then. Just got enough of a car alongside, pretty much fully alongside now. Joe Bates moves up the inside into turn 1, bounces off the curb, hold it together. That's cost him all momentum, and that'll put him on the back foot over Handley. Here comes Stardog for positions overall in the GT3 Porsche. We know that Cup car's got a bit of better speed. Looks like Joe's got damage on the left-hand side of his car there. And Joe will have to do it all again as Stardog round the outside at turn 2. Can't get it done. Joe lights up the rears and manages to keep it pointed in the right direction. Langley's lost even more time to Hibbs, and O'Reilly's got the gap down to 1.3. But for Joe Bates in this race now then, he's got work to do yet again. Stardog now putting Joe Bates under pressure, so this is allowing Handley to just pull away. Jamie will let you get to bed ready for school in the morning as Stardog, massive off there, nearly into the back of Joe Bates, avoids the car and ends up off. Thankfully didn't gather Joe. That's put Rob Smith through, and Joe Bates can now be not feeling the pressure and can try and put it back onto that of Handley. I'll have to tell Rob Ramsell that he's been predicted as gold winner from Jamie, and that Dan's been predicted as platinum winner. So see what Jamie's predictions come true this season. I'll have to let Dan know and Rob that they've been picked by Jamie to be to win their categories. So Joe back onto Handley pretty quick here. Joe's got the upper hand over him. He's got more pace. Which just begs the question, did Joe change tyres over Handley in the pit lane then? Last lap, Joe was a little slower, but that could have been because of his wiggles here. Out of turn 3, gets up the inside, trying to look for that momentum now. We'll be on the outside of turn 4. And nothing can be done about it. Look to the inside, nothing done there. All good from Handley and Joe at the moment. Down in towards turn number 1. Sorry, into the final corner. We've got 9 minutes left of this race. And O'Reilly's gap to Langley's back up to 1.6. So maybe Langley made a mistake somewhere. Handley now defending the inside line from Joseph Bates. Joe to the outside, going to try the up and under. Handley's gone a little deep. Joe has a slide on exit. So both drivers making mistakes. Neither can capitalise here. Heck of a Porsche Cup race at the moment, this. And Handley doing a terrific job to stay in front. Now here comes Joe. Has a look at turn 2. Can't do it there. Stardog and Smith look like they're going to be having a battle in the background. Bell's gaining on Varga. Just take a look at that. That's through the middle sector. We'll go back to Handley and Joe because that is really close at the moment. Joe being forced to the outside as Handley defending the inside line. It goes a little deep. That's given Joe the run and momentum, but again he's going to be on the outside for turn number 4. And Bates here could have to do the hard work right around the outside. Can he get it done around there? Trying to as best he can. Bit of a slide. They nearly tap rears. And Joe backs out of that one. Can't get the move done. Handley, great defending from him at the moment. 85 days till Christmas, says Phil. Save that for when Dan's on comms. I already know. Battle in the background as well between Rob Smith and Keenan Stardog here. But Joe Bates trying to get on, or ahead should I say, of Handley, who has defended really well in this fight. Here comes Joe then to the outside of turn number 2. We've seen overtakes done around the outside here. Can Joe get it done? Is he going to look for the up and under? He didn't really do either. They didn't sweep around the outside nor look for the up and under. Darren Bell's lost out to Varga. Go back to Rob Smith and Stardog. That's within 2/10. Back to Joe. To the outside line again here. Handley is defending very, very well. Oh, Joe, huge moment. How's he caught that? And stayed on the back of Handley there. His arms would have been crossed and sideways, catching that one. That's the good old Fury slide that we've missed over the years. And now he looks to the inside line into the S's. Breaks a little early though. Handley's had to run deep. Joe is sliding it through corners. Loves his drifting, does Joseph Bates. And he's putting on an expedition at the moment. Rob Smith's pulled away a little bit from Stardog in the background. And Joe again to the outside line, final corner. He's got ahead of Handley, round the outside, over the curb, again a little sideways. That'll compromise his run. Handley's back on that inside line here, as they are literally neck and neck coming down into turn 1. They've got Rob Smith and Stardog gaining on them at a rate of knots. Langley has almost got O'Reilly within a second of him. Joe not so squirrely out the first corner this time. Handley was a little bit. And is this Joe's opportunity? It is, because he's through and past Handley with 6 minutes to go. Joseph Bates moves up into second in the Porsche Cup class. And now we've got the Rob Smith Stardog fight. Oh, we did have Stardog. There he is. Just dropped off a little bit more. O'Reilly is now within 0.8 of a second of Langley. So O'Reilly is coming for Langley. Bell back within 4/10 of Benny Varga. Back down to this fight between Joe Bates and Handley for a second. We'll keep our eyes on the gap. And now it's Joe's turn to defend. Handley's coming back at Joe here. Defends nicely from Joe. Rob Smith waiting in the wings. Handley all over the back of Joseph Bates. And if you're not giving pressure, you're taking it. And that is exactly what Joe is doing at the moment. He's just given Handley a load of pressure. Now he's got to be the one to take it as well. And he's so far doing a good job. Rob Smith and Stardog having a fight just in the background. O'Reilly's gap back over a second. Now it's down to 7/10 in that middle sector where we know that car is strong. Darren Bell's back to 1.2. Handley here looking to the inside line on Joe. Stardog having a look on Smith. We stay as we was though. All good at the moment. What a fight here between these two. Track limit, Stardog. When it rains, it pours. His night has not gone according to plan. He's got a drive-through penalty. Second one of the night. Handley to the outside at turn number 2. Oh, Joe's gone deep. Handley's going to be given the inside line. Did Handley's run, though, get a little compromised because Joe went deep? Yes, it did. So somehow Joseph Bates hangs on. O'Reilly is now within 7/10 now of Langley. So O'Reilly is charging on Kieran O'Reilly. Kieran O'Reilly is charging on Langley here. That is Hibbs up the road, putting a lap on Peckman there. Schumacher's gaining on Aberdeen, but it's this Bates and Handley fight at the moment. This is for second place in the Cup car category. I assume we're going to see Keenan Stardog pull into the pit lane to do that drive-through penalty. Not at the moment, he's not. Or it doesn't look like he is anyway. No, stays out on track. Joe now just pulling away. O'Reilly's within half a second of Langley here. What a drive from Kieran O'Reilly this will be. So Stardog's got 2 laps. To do his drive-through penalty. Leader on track, Will Freeman, just behind that of Benedict Varga. That'll be to put a lap on him. O'Reilly now within a 10th. So look at this, Kieran O'Reilly really putting pressure on Langley now. This is for 4th overall, the leader of GT2 versus the leader in Porsche Cup. And that GT2 car just has enough to stretch its legs up the hill. What a race this has been so far in this one. With 2 minutes 43 left, Freeman's crossed the line to start lap number 38 of this race. So far, so good for Will Freeman. Not put a foot wrong since taking the lead from De Bont. Early on, we got disqualified for this race. We've lost Lee, we've lost Ramsland, we lost Clouden in this race. That's Peckman staying out the way as O'Reilly's nearly pushing Langley through the middle sector. I'll tell you what, we could be in for a second disqualification here because Stardog's got to do his drive-through penalty on the next lap. Otherwise, that will be the end of that. Hibbs has just put a lap on Rob Smith. Joe Bates has still got Handley there. So Rob Smith's dropped 10 seconds off the back here. Handley's looking up the inside on Joe Bates in towards turn number 2. Joe just taps the rear of him. And Handley then, a little squirrely on exit. That'll allow Joe Bates back through. So Joe gets the up and under. Through he goes once again. Back to Langley and O'Reilly at the moment. O'Reilly just dropping back in the straight line to Langley. That could save Langley in this race. As Will Freeman starts the final lap of this race. Well out in front. Drove an absolute blinder since he got past De Bont. And here we go. Can Joe Bates, with 1 and a bit laps left, hang on in there over that of Handley, sorry. This is where O'Reilly's got to capitalise. He knows he's got 1 more lap to do after this. Stardog's got to do that drive through this lap, and he hasn't, so we're about to get a second disqualification of the night. Stardog has been disqualified for not serving his drive-through penalty. So that'll be him last as well. So for Peckman, who's 3 laps down, he's really been able to benefit out of this. But we're going to jump to Will Friedman. We'll come back to the fights in a moment, because Will Friedman is about to come to the penultimate corner, well out in front of Ben Rook in this race. He's drove an absolute sublime race as Friedman here. He's about to take the race win in great style. Will Friedman will come to the line and will once again be a winner back on the SimPlay Motorsport channel. He wins from Ben Rook, who's only now just come through the penultimate corner. Bell finishes 8th. He got ahead of Benny Volger in the end. Rob Smith in 15th. Ben Rook will come home for 2nd place. Good result for Ben. Hibbs P3, only down in the middle sector at the moment. So we'll actually jump back to that Joe Bates Handley battle, because they're ahead of Hibbs. Aberdeen 10th, Schumacher 11th, Cox 13th. Cox 12th. And I don't think Handley's got enough. So Joe Bates may be coming to take 2nd place in class with Handley P3. Handley got a better run than Joe. Joe's going to hang on to the line, though. It's going to be P2 in class for Joe Bates, P3 in class for Handley. Hibbs will take P3 overall and P3 in class, as he'll take home 3rd place overall. Langley's just got to do this last corner to hang on in there from Kieran O'Reilly. He'll win the GT2 class, with Kieran O'Reilly winning in the Porsche Cup category, and 5th overall. What a drive from him. John Gooday P6. Good drive from John. He'll be pleased with his pace out there. Schwab nearly got on the back of John for P number 7 as well, and we just await Peckman to cross the line as he does so. What a night worth of racing here at SimPlay Motorsport. Thank you all for being a part of the evening. Once again, a little look at the calendar. We start on the 14th of October with the Who Darren Cup, and we cannot wait to get going. There is O'Reilly with a few burnouts. There's Langley as well. I'm surprised Joe Bates hasn't got them going yet. Goudet started a few as well. But that is the calendar for Season 10. You're not going to want to miss a moment of that calendar. But thank you all for watching. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.